Barkley and his legendary reverse hurdle on the cover
Of Madden 26.
everything is coming out of
That's a good photo.
including in Philadelphia, the iconic Geno
You know the
Steakhouse.
whole league gonna be trying to stop him. Saquon's.
They're now selling steakwans for the moment, and are actually delicious no matter what you call it, but one way or the
Is
other.
that in Philly?
Steakwans there after Saquon Barkley has
Oh yeah, Geno Steaks in Philadelphia. Yeah, yeah, that's South Philly.
ever had, or any NFL running back has ever had. He won the rushing title during the year 2005.
Man, you know the whole league is gonna try to stop Saquon this year though.
Which he could have done.
Just low in the box, kind of gonna play him like the Chiefs, but I mean it don't work all the time because his speed. If y'all miss one of them tackles, he still could break it. So, and then you gotta worry about Hurts running.
In the same season since 1972, which is when Offensive Player of the Year was first awarded. And then Barkley had 11 games with 100 rushing yards last year, the most by any player in their first season with a team in NFL history. And so as I sit here, start going over football notes, Dominic Foxworth, I don't know if everyone knows this about you, but you are an analytics geek. You are like that kind of analytics-driven nerd. And so it brings me to the question. Listen to Hembo laughing back there as the shoe fits. It brings me to the question. Is last year, did we see the beginning of a renaissance at running back? Was that a blip or was that the beginning of a trend?
Well, I resent calling me an analytics nerd. I'm not a nerd. I'm a tough guy. Like my favorite Jeff Saturday. And I think what we're seeing is not the resurgence of the running back as much as we're seeing the resurgence of the running game. As defensive lines get smaller and linebackers get smaller in order to rush the passer, it feels like the Eagles are a perfect example of the O-line is getting bigger. They have tackles at guard. They're enormous, and they use that as
That's true.
the ball. So
Biggest line of football.
things in the salary cap and generally the amount of running backs that you can find. I'm not sure that we're going to see.
But Saquon's still a good player though. At some point, they just gonna figure it out with his speed.
Analytics is about finding advantages, and right now there seems to be an advantage in getting big and getting physical in the modern NFL.
So let's make sure that we're clear on what we're saying here.
True.
What he's saying is that defenses, in order to try and contain all these high-octane passing games, have gotten smaller, and so the offenses
That's true.
the pendulum in the other direction and gotten bigger.
It's accurate. Look, if you just look at starting defenses, a lot of people, when they put up their starting defense, they're the third corner. I mean, they're essentially in nickel defense, as their, primary defense. So, the days of, a standard 4-3 with, big, run-stuffing linebackers, those days are long gone. And in fact, it really probably, go back to like Pete Carroll at USC, facing Oregon where you had these like hybrid safety linebackers, that all of a sudden became kind of like this, big nickel. And so a lot of people are playing like that. Well, like, getting into, run looks and running the football, and as Heath said, with like all of a sudden, like investing in guards, investing, not just at the tackle position to be able to run the football. Then pair that, well, let's be fair too to Saquon, pair that with an elite runner.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Can't forget that.
You do that. Now all of a sudden, it is different. So, yeah, I think that's 100% happening, and that's why I know we're planning on going this direction. I think what Jim Harbaugh is trying to do with the Chargers, I think is on the mark. Just, a little side note there.
Meaning he's putting together, he's building the team around an offense.
Wow, that play is incredible though. A backwards hurdle.
His plan is to basically beat you with a sledgehammer. I mean, that's his plan.
Well, Jeff Darlington, I mean, you're out there covering these games every single week and you're talking to all the people who put them together. It did occur to me at some point last season, there is no better play than the explosive run. There's not, if every offense could have that in their arsenal, that's what they would choose to do over everything because it has absolutely no risk or close to no risk. Or on a passing play, so many different things could go wrong.
Okay.
Well, statistically across the league, we did see, although very slim, we saw more running last year than previous years. That being said, passing is still the one.
That's a fact.
It's going for more yards, and it's happening more often. Yes, there's more balance, but it still is a passing lead. And you go back to the idea of value. It was a big story last year. Remember, when we talked about the running back market, and when Saqon was leaving New York in the first place, the idea that teams did not want to pay running backs, I actually think, yes, the pendulum swings a little bit, but Saqon getting this big...
He wouldn't be the same like that on another team, though. The Eagles, he just fit so well with the Eagles. But he had the talent.
A class system where we have Saqon, we have Derrick Henry, maybe Josh. There's some guys, maybe Bijan Robinson, but I really don't think that we're all of a sudden going to see this influx of money when general managers that I've talked to would still rather draft a guy, and I know this sounds mean, but run him into the ground and draft another guy after that. I think the idea that Saqon
Run him into the ground.
high five raises all boats. I don't think that pertains to the running back market. Saqon is an anomaly and an outlier.
Yeah, and Saqon himself still isn't getting paid as much as you would expect for the impact that he's having. Like the position itself, the value isn't changed. And to Jeff's point, there were 25 running backs in the draft this year. That suggests that we respect the running game, but it doesn't necessarily suggest that we respect the running back, because we'll see how many of those guys get big money extensions when the time comes.
Okay.
15 seconds. Finish it.
Yeah, the delta between the top Saqon and the next guys is greater than it is for running backs, 5 through 25.
So it's just going to be the guys at the very top. I'm telling you, just watch for these rookie runners. Ashton Genty obviously being at the top of the list to
That's a
smash
fact.
their way into the league and make a huge impact immediately. We'll see. As we continue back to basketball, the Lakers are in